You know, the thing is that we vibrate. And when we have dense energy, we can't experience that vibration of unconditional love. You know, if you eat a lot of heavy food, when you go to unify, it's so heavy, you just fall asleep. And obviously we're cleaning our systems. We're drinking a lot of water, we're getting exercise, we're moving our emotions, we're doing everything to vibrate in a higher frequency. And as we start to heal internally, you start to reject everything else. You know, I don't have any rules. You know, what you do in your life is your business. But I do have recommendations. And one of the most important things is when you're healing, when you're detoxing, that you're listening to your body. And it doesn't have a rule. Because everyone has a different body. Everyone has a different central nervous system. And everyone needs something different. And that will be very clear. You know, I don't say in order to experience peace and joy, you have to be a vegan. I don't say in order to experience peace and joy, you can't drink a wine. I don't say any of that. You need to listen to yourself and see what you feel. But the thing you will find is as your body gets cleaner and cleaner and cleaner, you start to reject those things because they don't feel good. And that freedom that we get from substances, you'll start to experience that naturally. And that's a great feeling because you feel empowered, no?
My question is about the difference in between fanaticism and enlightenment.
Between what, sorry?
Fanaticism. Fanaticism and enlightenment.
Well, they're two completely opposite things. Okay, so enlightenment embraces everything. It knows that it's everything. It doesn't have a judgment. It just has love in everything. Whereas fanaticism is full of stress, full of fear, full of separation. It's full of judgment about what's good and what's bad, what's wrong and what's right. And it's also a place where you're escaping yourself. Everything's external. Everything wrong is external. And that's very much a place of victimism as well.
Can you talk about 2020? How we can open day after day to love from the heart, not from the head?
You know, you have to start defining who you want to be. You know, I can talk to you because you're an older student, no? And you have a big experience of consciousness. Now it's totally your responsibility. What am I choosing in each moment? Am I choosing habitual responses? Or am I choosing to push myself to always be more? Like you define yourself through your actions and your choices. And you know what a conscious choice is. You know what it is to choose for love. You're no longer robotic. You have that moment of self-awareness where you can choose. Am I going to do this and define myself? with a new choice? Or am I going to do the same thing I always do? Have a little drama, be a little victim, blame the outside. What am I going to do? And that's up to you. So if you're here now, you can choose. And clearly you can choose. You know, when we first start the process, we have so much stress, we don't even know what we're doing. Everything's very robotic because we have all these triggers in our bodies. Fears, things that are habitual that we've learned since we were children. We're unconscious of self. But as we start to live here and we start to witness our human experience, we can see very clearly what choices we're making. And this is what you need to focus on this year. And the rest of the years. Who am I going to be? What am I going to choose? Who do I want to be? That's a big question. Do I want to be someone new? Or do I want to be the same old person?
How can I stop experiencing that sensation of emptiness or loneliness? I don't differentiate much both. How can I distinguish?
You know, the thing is with humans is we all have that emptiness. We all have that fear. That's why we consume so much. We're always chasing something so that we can't be with ourselves. We don't enjoy being with ourselves because there's something missing. And once you start to create consciousness, that place of peace and joy, once that starts to grow, you start to enjoy being by yourself. Not because you're escaping, but because you feel complete. You can choose to be with people or choose not to be, but feel complete within yourself. And that's a great freedom. But that comes from unconditional love. And that's what the system's for. You know, when I talk about loving yourself, I'm talking about that energy that's complete. That energy within you that you're connected with. And once you establish that, you're free.
I want to ask you, I know it's very important, the expression, and it's a little bit hard for me to go to the expression room or express on the phone. But what I used to do from before, it was to write, no? Before knowing the system, I used to write what I felt. Is a kind of expression, is valid, or is better to express verbally?
What happens if you're angry? No, it doesn't serve. Because it doesn't matter how you're feeling. You have to move the energy. So why do I not want to go and express? Because I'm self-conscious. And you need to just learn to move it and not care. And once you do that, you'll feel so good, you won't be able to wait to express. Because it's just such a liberation. And you can do it anywhere. You know, you can grab a pillow at home, scream in a pillow, beat the bed. If you're sad, cry. You know, initially we express a lot, and then it just becomes very normal. If you have an emotion, you just feel it naturally. You know, most humans are blocked. So we're here, and we don't even know what's going on. And it's very important to live here. See, so yes, no, writing won't resolve the problem. Because you have to move the energy. Yeah, and that's why we do exercise too. To move the energy.
I would like you to talk a bit about the meaning of life. Because I feel I didn't find my meaning. And I'm in this search. And I would love to run to be able to find it soon. And when I listen that people are many times younger than me, I feel envy about that when I listen to them talking with the passion within and the pleasure that they have doing whatever they do. And I wonder if I will find my own passion that many people talk about and I don't feel yet.
You know, passion for what you're doing is not freedom. I used to be passionate about everything I did. Everything I did is what I wanted to do. But I didn't love my life. I didn't love myself. I still had fear. I was always trying to prove my worth by being successful. And when I started to go in, I found something much more important. It didn't matter what I was doing. Once I had that internal plenitude, I took joy into every moment. So it wasn't something external making me happy. It was something permanently. I was the happiness, no matter what I was doing. So that's the biggest secret. You know, humans are always looking for their purpose. There's no purpose. We can do a billion things, have a billion experiences. The most important thing is that we love ourselves and we explore ourselves and we have a big yes to life. It's not that you just get one thing and then, oh, now I'm happy. I found out how to cook and now I'm happy. Now I'm in search of the perfect cake. You know, it's not like that. Yeah, you should be able to be doing something mundane and be happy. So that's an idea we have, and it's all about consuming. And sure, you know, there might be special talents you have, and you might enjoy doing that. But the important thing is that you have this internal love. And what you're doing, you're giving. It's not that you're doing it to get. You know, you're doing it from love, you're creating from love, and you're giving that. Because you feel internally complete.
Now that you were talking, in each moment we are having the opportunity to decide who we want to be. It happens to me, I feel conflict that I want to decide who I want to be, but I don't know if I'm doing it from a place that is rejecting who am I. And I want to be different because I'm rejecting myself, or am I doing really to find the best version of myself?
You know, in order to find the best version of yourself, you have to embrace the worst version. Because we try to negate things. And when we first start, we have to embrace everything. And we have to love everything. And it's a maturing process. Because then we start to let things go that don't serve. You know, the most beautiful thing is when we start to cultivate consciousness, that's when we can start to change. Because we're very present and we're very conscious. But we also feel complete within ourselves. So it's more about my first focus is to heal. To let go of the rubbish and find that internal security. And then I start witnessing myself and I start to see what serves and what doesn't. What takes me to more joy or what takes me to more suffering. So it's a process, no? It's not an instant process. It's a process. But it's a fast process.
Okay. So first of them, it's what is the word that's sometimes... emphasis.
Let me answer that. The is the sound of creation. It incorporates everything. It incorporates the destruction, the movement, and the rebirth. That's how life is. And when you expand your consciousness, you'll start to hear the underlying Om. It's very subtle, but it's there all the time.
What is duality and how does it happen?
You sit down, will you? You're making me nervous. Yeah, no, just. Duality is that which changes. That permanent experience of love is non-changing. It's always present. This is constantly changing. This is the human experience, including our bodies, everything that's outside of our absolute essence is duality. But you get to a point where that unity moves into the duality, and then you see that it's all the same. Yeah, you clear now? Yeah.
And the third one is, at the woods you told me that my chakras were opening. Like, what are the chakras? How do they open? And if there's anything related to consciousness.
Okay. When we're born, all our chakras are open. They're energetic portals. Okay? If you look at a baby, it doesn't blink. It looks at you like this. Because this is all open. This is all open. This is all open. Then we start to close. We start to become individual units. And we start to separate. And we start to believe in duality. Babies don't live in duality. And when we close, all of these points have stress. As we elevate our consciousness, using the facets, they automatically start to open again. It's not very woo-woo. It's not. It's just energy. Because everything's energy. Okay, everything. And it's closed or it's open. That's all. And the facets are designed for that. You know, the first facets are very focused on the heart chakra. Because for me, that's the most important chakra to open. And then the fourth chakra is focused on the rest. Good.
Can you talk a bit more? What is the witness? I mean the fourth facet. And when we went to the forest, I understood the witnessing like inside me, but looking at nature and listening the sound of birds. That I don't understand now, but I mean the first part of these facets. As something that what is to witness, I don't understand fully.
You know, we live here, okay, in a place of duality. And we're always segregating, analyzing, judging, good, bad, right, wrong, grey, black. It's constant. We have up to 100,000 thoughts a day. When we start to witness, we start to sit here. And I don't know if you noticed in the forest, but when you're here, you're also here. You're very conscious of everything. So this has stopped, not completely, but it's slowed down. And you're sitting here. And you're starting to experience everything around you. Everything becomes stronger. Like if I said to you, oh, we listen to the waves. Before I told you, you wouldn't even know they were there. Because they're in the distance. But when you're very present and you're witnessing, you're very conscious of the smells, the sounds, the feelings, the wind, everything. So you start to unite more with everything. And it's like you said, I've never been present. And you're starting to be present. But at some point, it will become so intense. Like, whoa, I'm really in the moment now. And that's when you'll be witnessing. Yeah, everything I talk about is experiential. So you have to have your experience. You know, I can explain it, but still you have to have that experience.
How that shield that we have, that strength, can be that we use not to be hurt?
How do I see it? You know, vulnerability is strength. Protection is fear. It's an illusion. Because nothing can really affect us. Nothing can affect love. Once we start to heal. But we have this distance, this protection, and the irony is we protect ourselves from love. We're not open to receive love. We have a million reasons not to be loved. And you'll find that as those shields start to fall, and you start to love yourself, you're open to receive love externally. And most people will negate that. But you'll start to see it. Because we all feel there's something wrong with us. We all feel there's a place where we don't deserve to be loved. And as we start to heal, the shields start to fall. and everything starts to open.
I want to ask you 2 questions. Happens in my practice, I explore so much with consciousness exercise, and I love it when time stops, as if I have a test of eternity in me. I'm really loving myself there. I invite myself to be 50 minutes there, 30 minutes there, and I'm there in me, in that beautiful place. And there then my back starts and it's too long and one is finishing and I lose it. Which one is your recommendation there? I find that place, I open the eyes and that's it? Or I immerse myself more and longer?
Try to go deeper. Go beyond that. Surrender to what's happening. Because often that's a place that stops you from going further. And you can go beyond that physical sensation.
Second question. I've seen, not only in the Isha system, and now it's very clear, but with any practice, there is always much more women. I'm happy. But why? I feel in general as if it female consciousness awakes much more, and men we are left.
We're much smarter than you. You know, I'll answer that. You know, it's not always the case. You know, that's an idea. When I do big courses, and they're usually 60-40. This is smaller, there's not so many men. But it's changing. You know, women are very emotional. And men have a tendency to be very intellectual. But all of this is changing. It's changing all the time. There's much more balance. And when I first started teaching, 20 years ago, I'd do these huge courses and there'd be one man. And that was some resented wife that the wife had dragged, you know. See me more, see me more. It's like, what? Why am I see me more, you know? But it's changed a lot. Yeah.
Let me go where it started the Darshan today, and it's this of new times, the objectives, the goals, and I cannot not fall there. And I resonate with the questions, how to find your purpose, your meaning, your objectives in life. But my question is, which ones will be your suggestion in how to...
You know, if you have a desire for something, it's great to move into action. But not to be attached. Because in reality, it doesn't matter what you're doing. It's what you're being that's important. You know, we're always focused at the top of the mountain. But if you're not enjoying the view on the way up, if you're not watching the path, if you're not enjoying every aspect, there's no validity. Life's an experience. It's not a goal. You know, I'm sure you achieve all your goals. You look at that kind of person, no? You know, you go, 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 go till you get it. I used to do that. But then I had to have a new goal, and a new goal, and a new goal, and a new goal. So it was like a dog chasing its tail. Now I have a desire, but without attachment. Oh, I'd like to do that. And I move into action. And my team moves into action. And if there's a block, well, I let go. But I'm not affected. Because I'm not defining myself through what I'm doing. And this is what you have to see. And it doesn't matter if you're doing a good thing or a bad thing. You're still defining yourself. It's just about being, giving, and being the best of you in each moment. That's what's important. Am I being the best of me? Or am I just blindly chasing an objective to prove that I have value?
Sí, sí. Yesterday you said that the biggest teacher was your suffering. And for me, my biggest teacher had been my suffering too. Always I've said that my divorce was one of the worst sadness.
man.
Y encima soltero. Had been one of my biggest blessings because how much it taught me. I think that many here we are because some suffering brought us here to look for answers. I have two questions. One, do you suffer still? In what moment we change the teacher of suffering towards for the teacher of love? And I suppose that you continue suffering and are challenges and things that you keep on. I love my teacher of suffering. And also I try to eliminate it. When this
That's
stops.
a good question.
Buena pregunta.
Firstly, no, I don't suffer at all because I'm surrendered to life. I don't want what's not mine. What's in front of me is mine. If it's not, I let go. I don't suffer. And I'm not attached. That's the first part. And no, as you start to heal, you'll see that game. And you'll start to change. And that's maturity. I choose not to suffer because I'm not going against the flow. We only suffer when we're going against the flow. Or if we have a desire that's not ours. That's when we start to suffer. Or if we're blaming the outside. That's when we start to suffer. And you'll learn to surrender to everything. You know, 6 years ago, I think it was, I went to France. I was in a big horse race. Okay, and I completely smashed my leg. But completely. And I was laying there, half dead. And I just surrendered to that moment. I thought I was going to die. Because really it was that bad, the accident. And I healed. And I spent like a year in a wheelchair or crutches, traveling all over the world. I had to keep teaching. It was quite complicated. And I didn't suffer. It was just another experience. And this is freedom. That you can have every experience and to be surrendered to it. You know, I didn't go to the Mundial to break my leg. In my head, I was going there to win. And I did, I think, 4 kilometers of 160. It was a disaster. Total disaster. But I just let go. And I didn't suffer. And that's the freedom of consciousness. Surrendering to everything. And the suffering leaves.
I want to ask you. Obviously, the fact that they exist men and women is for reproduction.
Oh, that's what it's for.
Mira lo que el tiempo que me llevó a entenderlo. Gracias.
Gracias.
I want to ask if these two energies exist, like for me to find my own masculine side, because I notice that when I have a partner, I felt taken care of. I'm like in this process of finding my own protection without needing a man that it's okay if he shows up, but not needing it, feeling well and protected with my own both energies.
Okay. You know, you'll find that that's a role. And it's something we learn. I need a man to protect me. I never learnt that, by the way. But it's a habit, no? Needing anyone to protect you. Because you have all the power within you. And you have to see that game. Because it's a seduction and a manipulation. You play the little girl so that someone looks after you. Yeah? And you do it very well, by the way. I've watched you in action. Now, you're going to start finding a place internally where you can just start to enjoy everything. And you won't need someone to protect you. Because yes, we all have masculine and feminine energy. But the protection has nothing to do with those energies. It comes from fear. It's not because you're too feminine. It's because you need to liberate all the fear and just become the love. And nothing's more powerful than love. And it's not masculine or feminine. It's perfectly both.